Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Big Red EDC and welcome to Channel Chat. Yeah, I know it's looking a little different right now. You can actually see both people that are talking. And I know that's different for me. You know, I had a couple people say, hey, we want to see your face a little more. So sorry, but here it is. But joining me today is Jake from Ohio State. Now, I know our good buddy John, Grateful Panic, he always says Jake from State Farm.
Yeah,
Always and forever. And I'm like, dude.
It's fine. Look, I say every time that company owes me royalties. I used to have a job where I wore a red button up and khaki pants. It didn't have anything to do with Target, but everywhere I went, hey, I'm Jake. And then from State Farm, like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't bother me every time I go in there. So it's cool though.
Man. Well, thanks, man. I greatly appreciate you joining tonight. I mean, we've chatted back and forth via, the Instagram world and all this stuff, but really wanted to take the opportunity to actually just get to talk to you.
Cool.
And find out a little bit more about Jake and what got Jake into the knife world and all that good stuff. So, we already kind of broke the ice. So how did you get into collecting knives?
Well, it was I grew up out in the country. All right. So the house that I grew up in was actually the same house that my mom grew up in. It's been in our family for a little while. Now, when she was little, it was actually a working farm. Cow, they got up and milked cows and all that stuff. That wasn't like that in my time.
Sure.
But so being out in the country, we had 7 acres of land, and then standard Ohio stuff, cornfields all around us. And we had neighbors left and right, but miles of cornfield behind us and in front of us, so it was just easy. My dad always had a knife, guns, every Saturday we'd go out and shoot guns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. So I was probably about 8 or 9 years old that, I gave him my first knife. And like you had said, I'm lucky that I still have, the memories attached to all these knives. So this was literally the very first one. All right. And there's
dude.
You of all people probably would think it's kind of cool.
Oh, it is, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's absolutely, you can see the very long pole, the little strike up top of there. And there's no, like, this isn't really a slip joint anymore. 8, 9-year-old Jake did a lot of dumb things with that, but you can see it doesn't like, it sort of grinds.
It still slips a bit. Yeah.
I guess. And no, there's no name brand. It says stainless steel Japan. Like, but I guess what do you give a 9-year-old kid, a 9-year-old boy on a farm? You know what I mean? On a farm.
It is out of Japan, though.
It does. Yeah, right.
Oh, cool.
It does say. Well, it says it on the tang. I don't know where whatever it came from.
Right.
But so that was like the first one. So you say that was about 8 or 9 years old. And then from there, he stepped me up into basically it's 110 kind of it's not a buck at all, but that's the style,
Sure.
Yeah. Big lock back, but at the same time, it's all tarnished and stuff. And I can remember this. I don't remember that black one a ton, but I remember this one a lot, and it got stuck in about every tree that we had, multiple times, because it was a lock back. And it's funny, I didn't notice, I wouldn't have known when I was a kid, but it even has like a 12. That probably won't show up. It's stamped right there. So it's even a real blatant, like buck 112 kind of buck 110 ripoff. But back then, again, this was, I was born in 1981, so this was about the beginning, end of the 80s or whatever, when I was probably getting this stuff. And then from there, he really jumped up. This one was a Christmas present, and I really wish I'd taken a little better care of it, but it's a full case. Yeah, man, this knife is one of my favorites. And I used to I can remember that I put a little like shoestring through the little eyelet here, and I would carry this, all over the farm, and just, man, I really beat the snot out of this. But it's for what a little kid did to it, I guess. It's not terrible. I mean, there's a lot of wear marks on there, but
Sure.
other than that, it's still perfectly good shape,
And that's a leather wrapped handle, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Leather wrapped handle. I don't
Nice.
know technically like a model number, but case,
Sure.
says it's got the case logo on there and the USMC logo on there and stuff like that. But
So it's kind of Case's version of the K-bar.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Right on.
So those are the first three. And my dad wasn't like big into knives, but enough that he always had one.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big barn out there. It's 70 by 70 and cement floor. And so he's a mechanic. I mean, it wasn't his job, but he's one of those dads that just did a little bit of everything.
Sure.
He did like telephone work and plumber and all that stuff. And he's taught me a lot of that stuff. But in that barn was just tools everywhere, cars everywhere, because he could get one for real cheap, fix it up, and then resell it or whatever. So he didn't always have to have a pocket knife because there was one laying in that barn somewhere. It was just a mess. But so that's kind of what got me started. My grandpa, same thing. He always had just kind of your standard, slip joint style. There's a Rough Rider that'll make you happy. I'll put a Rough Rider up there. Yeah. So my grandpa just always had something like this. Nothing major. He was a wood carver, so he had a lot of tools laying around, that type of stuff as well.
But back then, it was the thing. Everybody had a pocket knife. It was just, I mean, and even now today, I mean, it's EDC because somebody labeled it EDC.
Right.
EDC was cool a long time ago. I mean, I remember my dad, he always had a pocket knife. He always wore bib overalls.
Right. Oh, okay.
So he always had a pocket knife. He always had a pen. He always had a little notebook. Of course, he had his like little reader glasses in one of the pockets.
Sure.
And oh shoot, there was one other thing what did he always? Oh man, but I mean, when you talk about EDC, it was every single day.
Right. Right.
And it was just the thing. Everybody had a pocket knife, and it was usually some little slip joint, who knows?
Yeah.
But
we've definitely, as social media has grown, this hobby has really morphed. Carrying EDC, all that stuff. Because you're right. I mean, the same thing. My own grandpa that he was a wood carver, but so he always had like kind of those little whittler knives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And certainly he always had a notepad on him. He'd always have it right here. He was an extremely smart man, mathematician, and he was a tool and die maker by trade.
Wow. Yeah.
But so that's real precise things, and he always had a pen and stuff like that. But it was just whatever pen. It wasn't a bolt action, whatever.
That's what it was. He always had one of those little metal rulers.
Oh,
that's what it was. Yeah. Those little pocket rulers.
Yes.
I don't know what they were, maybe 4 or 5 inch, something like that.
Yep.
That was what it was. That's what he always had in his pocket.
Boy, that's a different thing to carry, But now look, what did NAF's Ben Peterson just launched that little titanium ruler?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Things like that come back.
But that's my dad was always building something. He was always building shelves and stuff for, like you said, we lived out in the country and stuff on the farm. It wasn't a farm.
Yeah.
At that point, and it wasn't a farm basically my whole life. My older brothers and sisters, they still have some memories of animals and stuff like that, but he was always building something. So that was just always something he had. He could always, no matter what, he could always take a measurement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool. So, but I mean, and things like that, I think are, I don't want to say that they've gone by the wayside a little bit. And we've certainly built a nice community, but in general, guys carrying things like that, we certainly have our EDC pocket gear and stuff, but it's not, I think we've all said it multiple times that I meet more people on here that do all this stuff than I ever have in real life. You know what I mean? That have their pockets full of stuff. So it's kind of something that's going by the wayside. You know what I mean? I don't know, a little bit.
No, I think you're right. I think it kind of has. But I mean, it's more, like you said, though, it's more prevalent with us because, that's the people we tend to hang around with and talk to and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So it is. But So what brought on the idea of starting the channel?
I think like a lot of people, it's the same thing, with COVID hitting and everything just slows down. And I was, and I didn't ever bring this on as like a woe is me thing. I lost my job during it, but I mean, thousands of people had it way worse. I was really only unemployed for about 2 weeks. There was just a quick little transition in there. Literally thousands of people had it way worse than I did. I barely lost anything. It was fine. I kind of prepared a little bit to go into a new job anyways. So, and then when I started the new job, everything was a little slow. Everything was still slow, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And so I had time at home. Lunchtime, I was already here at home. And to be honest, I had small goals. It was never like, I want to get this many followers, or I want to get, like, I appreciate everybody that does that. But, it was really like, I just kind of wanted to expand the hobby a little bit, and I thought, well,
Sure.
This looks like a fun way to do that. So why not start it?
Yeah.
I also thought, again, with this all being home, I'm a really social dude. I talk to everybody. My wife always makes jokes about me having like multiple personalities, because no matter who it is, I can figure out something to talk to them about.
Right.
But it's really more about just introducing yourself and then letting the other person talk, and then you'll find a common ground. It might not be the most prevalent thing, but
sure.
if it's not something that's extremely common, I'll at least make them laugh about something or whatever. So I thought, I kind of want that too. I miss that. I miss going out in public and talking to people.
Sure.
Even if whatever, I spent so many years in retail, and even my job now, even though it's not considered retail, I mean, they sell a product and I go and service the product. So it's still the same concept.
Right.
So all those years of retail, I miss that. And even going out now, people with their masks, like, I miss the smile, when you get something, just even like, good morning or whatever.
Sure.
So I kind of wanted that. I wanted to reach out a little more. And, the last thing was just really like, I bet I could make some cool connections, because it is funny how different Instagram is from YouTube. I know I have followers here that I don't have there, and vice versa.
Right.
So I thought, well, all right, let's try that and see how that works out. And I mean, look, this right here, this is already more than what I had ever expected.
Exactly.
I mean? Exactly. That was really cool. I was really bought up.
And that, that's kind of, in a way, that's kind of how all this got started, really. I mean, it was something that I had thought about doing for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Ray kind of started the big with his podcast and everything. And I guess this is a podcast. Like I said, I don't really call it that. I guess it is. It's just you, me, and whoever I'm talking to. We're just sitting around BSing. That's what it is.
Yes. Yeah.
But,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, and me and fear of technology, or whatever the case may be, that kind of it slowed me down a bit. But now that I am doing it, and I love it. I love sitting down and talking to people. And it's like you said with that, kind of that social. For me, it was the kind of the camaraderie of the military unit.
Sure.
That I had been so accustomed to that, I guess I really didn't realize that I was. And then I get into this whole world, and it just kind of, I was surprised. I was really surprised.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's terrific. There's so much generosity. I mean, stuff you got going for Jack right now, Jack Farm Boy right now is amazing.
That has been, I mean, well, there you go. I'm speechless. I really am. The amount of support, the outpouring. I mean, you yourself. I mean, and just the number of people that donated. Like I said, I have 9 medium flat rate boxes that are stuffed. I mean, when I say stuffed, there's. And now, people won't see this for probably about a week from when we're recording, but I'm doing the drawing tonight. Okay. And just today alone, my email has just been blowing up.
Yeah.
with donations and people getting in on the route. It's been crazy.
Still going. Yeah. Still
it's
donating.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. And, you know, it's just it's so much fun to be able to help somebody out like that.
Sure.
I mean,
And
it is kind of, I guess it's a little bit selfish.
Well,
because it makes me feel good to do it.
Yes.
And I think it's human nature to do stuff that makes you feel good, isn't it?
Right. You know, that's what I mean. That's a major thing. I've told my daughter that, you know, like there's a whole thing. There's no such thing as a selfless act because it always makes you feel better if somebody else's. And
right.
You know, I've talked about that before about, you know, promoting positivity and stuff like that. My kids love that. But you know, my daughter had asked, like, why do we do that? And I said, well, look, you know, if you tell your little friend you like her hair today, then she smiles and then you smile and now it makes you feel better. So like, it's really helping yourself out too.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
How I talk to her. And that's what's happening here. And you can see just from this, it's almost like people are just wanting to outdo how much they can donate. You know what I mean? It's like, I was like, that's
it does
crazy.
seem like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's been pretty wild, you know, but it like I said, it's awesome that we can come together and do that and really help somebody out. And I know I've been talking to Jack quite a bit, and he's just, you know, he's amazed. He's extremely grateful, you know, and he just wants everybody to know that.
And and I would be on the other end. You and I have talked about this before, just through text, the fact that like I can give a gift way easier than I can receive it. I never feel like I should have anything. I never, you know, even just little things like this, like when you asked me to be on here, well, my initial reaction was, why? You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to do? You know what I mean? I'm just, you know, it's just for fun, but it's funny. There's a big outreach in this community, and I really appreciate it. Like I told you, Jack was the first person that ever gave me anything out of somebody that you don't know. You're never gonna, you know, he lives, I think, a couple states away from me. I'm probably never gonna see him either. And him and I were talking one day. It was actually on one of his posts. I was talking about Spyderco, and I wanted to get into him a little bit, and he's asking me all these kind of questions about, well, you know, what type of knife you like, blah blah. Well, Christmas time, it was around Christmas time. And then here shows up a Mannix. He had sent me a Mannix. You know, he had gotten my number, my address from Sean, and geared towards the year because Sean and I had dealt with each other a little bit. And so he sent me a Mannix. I was like, oh, this is like $100 knife. You know what I mean? And it was so, I certainly didn't hesitate when you had reached out. I was absolutely going to give what I could to him.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. And that's the one thing that, like you said, I'm much better at giving than I am receiving. Yep. And it's just, I think we'll find that a lot.
Yeah.
In this community. I think that's just kind of the makeup of the people. And I don't know why. It's just because, I mean, that's the way I was brought up, you know.
Me too.
You know, it's always better to give than to receive, right? That's just how many times did I hear that growing up? And it's just, and not only that, but it goes back to the whole positivity thing, you know, what you were telling your daughter, you know, if you, the only thing you can give somebody is a compliment or well, I mean, we know it was Zach with the whole DSKFS, right? Do something kind for someone. That one little spark, you know, it could change someone's whole day. It really could. And
you never know what they're going, what they woke up to, what they walked into school with, you never know. So, and that's why the missing people smile drives me nuts, because, you know, that's even just a polite smile and they smile back, and that might be enough to make them lift their head a little. I don't know. You know, I think about that stuff a lot. I just try to keep positivity going as much as I can. There's way too much negative in the world.
Oh yeah.
We need to combat it, I think, whenever I can.
Exactly. Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, and it's unfortunate because a lot of times you kind of run into it on a day-to-day basis, but in the same turn, you run into a lot of positivity as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's not all dark.
You know,
it's not all dark, certainly.
No. So, I mean, but that little bit that maybe I can do to help that out with someone or something.
Yeah. That's kind of what I think about. I mean, it comes, you know, like you said, there's a lot of positivity. I talked to Brad, Mild Mannered DC, Brad. Like actually we've called each other on the phone several times, you know. He honestly, I'll definitely mention him when you ask about starting a channel. He pushed me a lot. He said, I think you should, you know.
Yeah.
Talked on the phone and you know, he's like, I think you'd be good at it. But I don't know that I'm good at it. I just like doing it. So whatever works there. But I talked to him and I explained even in, you know, this YouTube stuff, right? So I think for the majority of us, this is sort of just a side hobby, something fun. Now there's obviously people that are trying to make money off of it, make a little extra, or even possibly make it be their job. Now, all that's cool. But I thought about it, and so I was talking to him, you know, I said, it's so funny that people would bother to leave a negative comment on a video. Like, why not just not watch the video? Or, and I know recently you've dealt with this and probably multiple times. And I thought about, I said, you know, it's a hobby. Why do we get to, if I decided that I wanted to start jumping rope and I went out into my driveway, 6'7", I'm doing it. I'm jumping rope now. This is my new hobby. And I start jumping rope in my driveway, right? And 5 people walk by and somebody finally says, you suck. You know, I'm like, but I'm just jumping rope. I'm not hurt. Just look the other way. Why do you gotta tell me you see what I'm saying? Like,
I know.
Why do you gotta bother doing that? Just, you know, all the first 5 people just smiled and kept walking, thought that dude's an idiot. But you didn't say it.
Yeah.
And I think about that with YouTube. It's like, man,
yeah,
you know, I don't know, but that's just the way I am, I guess. Like if
I
if I don't like
you.
somebody, just don't follow them. Just don't watch their stuff. You're not required to.
Yeah. No, it's not a requirement at all.
No.
You know, it's like,
do it.
Okay, well, okay. Oh yeah, trust me. And I think, I mean, that's just part of putting yourself out there.
It is, really right. Is. I get it. It's all free speech. They can say what they want, do what they want. But again, I don't see the point of, you know, putting bad comments on something. Just don't watch it, and then you don't have to watch it anymore. It's so funny.
The thing about it though is those comments and, you know, the thumbs down or whatever. What they don't realize is that still kind of helps you out.
Sorry, dude.
No, it's okay. It's
okay. No, right down the wrong pipe.
Oh, that's not good. Hang on. Jake needs help. You all right?
Yeah, man.
All right. Yeah, no, trust me, I gotta sit here and drink something too. I've been outside all day, so.
I do. Gosh, that's the perfect thing to happen on my first channel chat.
Yeah,
everybody's gonna want me on it now.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of stuff. I do. I listen to a lot of podcasts and watch a lot of stuff like this, and I've always enjoyed yours. I like Ray's a lot too. It seems kind of fun too.
Oh yeah.
And I thought I definitely want to do it. And the first thing I told myself, I'm gonna have some water here. Don't choke on the water. Check that out.
You jinxed yourself.
I did.
You jinxed yourself, man.
Dumb.
You jinxed yourself.
Yeah.
That's all
whatever.
Good.
This is who I am.
Yeah. That's, you know what? And that's just it.
Yeah.
My videos, hey, it's who I am.
Right.
It's what, you know, and it goes back to, if you like it, cool. If not, well, you know, I'm sure you'll find somebody that you like.
Yeah, but you're right. That's funny about YouTube just views them as interactions anyway. So if you're gonna give me a thumbs down, like, you don't realize you just helped me. It's the same thing. You know? I mean, I think that's funny to know.
Yeah.
Too. I've caught a few. I don't have many videos out. I haven't been that long, but I've caught a few. I had one big long negative comment one time, and I thought, what? The guy had it was like he copied and pasted the entire history of this Swiss Army knife I was talking about. And that exact thing was like, he had never commented on anything of mine whatsoever. And I thought, why bother? Man?
Well, then that's usually what it is. That's usually, I mean, I have found that very same thing, that if it's somebody that, I mean, it's like, okay, you've never seen anybody, you know, it's like, if they have, it was so few and far between that, because I know with you, and because I think it's the same way with all of us, you pretty much have your core people that watch and comment all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think they're probably we probably have a lot of them in common. I know, you know, me, Zach, you, Peter, and Christine, we probably have them all, because those are the kind of people we, I guess, attract and end up surrounding ourselves with kind of inadvertently. for the most part, but and that's awesome. I love that, because there's probably at least half a dozen people that I can say they're probably going to comment on every single video I put out.
Sure.
They just are.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's awesome.
It is. And that's, I definitely don't want to ever come off that I don't appreciate that people watch me. I don't put so much into like the amount of followers, because it was never a goal of mine. I never thought it was going to be more than the 20 or 30 dudes that talk to me on Instagram porting over. And now I just looked before we started this, just out of curiosity, I'm over 200, which again, isn't a big number, but it's like, again, I think about that too. If I was to go to a big ballroom and 200 people are going to listen to me talk about a knife and stare in there and stare at me talking about a knife, that's a weird concept, Now, I personally, again, social, I've done a lot of large speeches and stuff, and I don't have a problem, but it's a weird concept, I mean, you're a couple thousand. So what if a couple thousand people came and he said, no, thank you.
This is much better. I like this much better. No, and that's kind of funny, because I've always been horrible at public speaking.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, what are we? I mean, we are and we're not.
Well, you are. Yeah. Look, if you keep zoned in that it's fact, it's just me and you sitting here talking. I'm just looking at a screen. You're just looking at a screen. But then you think about like, well, I'm going to upload it, and those 2,000 people or whatever are going to watch it. Like, well, I guess I'll say the right thing, but try not to choke on a water. But,
I would not want to be in the room with that many people saying, all right. And it'd be like, because I'd probably be like,
super slow.
I know. I'd be like dumbfounded.
Shaking and stuff.
Be like, it's a knife.
It's a knife. Yeah.
Sharp. Don't touch this.
Right. Hand here, hand not here.
And just trying to get out of the room as quickly as possible. No, I get you, man. That's funny. I never thought about it. Now, man, don't jinx me, man. Don't get that in my head.
Right. You're gonna get caught.
Next, I'll go to record my next video and be like,
can we just do this in a private room?
Yeah. Right on. No, very cool. So you got the channel up and going. You're cruising along.
Yep, it's fun.
Let's see. Knives. Let's get back to knives for a second.
Sure.
Do you have like a favorite, like brand, company, style? What do you cut a trend to?
I'll have to say style. It's hard to, it's like listening to music where you have a favorite band, like, well, no, they got a couple of good songs. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm a big advocate of is that a word? Advocator. I think that's right. Of steel will. I like steel will knives a lot. I Porky Pig the word for us. It just, I like steel will a lot, and that's their designs. I was drawn to them for a while, but now I've sort of gotten out of flippers. I'm kind of bored with flippers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I look at the silhouette of a knife a lot, and if it's got that little flipper sticking out of there, I kind of like, I'm kind of done with it. And I'm looking, hopefully Steel Will does come out they're supposed to come out with some new models here soon. I mean, they kind of died for like almost 2 years or something, I think. Yeah. And really I was really excited. I know. And then they went and spider coat us and then brought a cut jack out in a different color. I was like, oh, come on, and then it's the price got hiked up just a little bit too. I'm like, oh, you really did spider coat us. Good job. So, I was like, well, all right, maybe I'll wait to see what they got coming out. But I think typically, after 30 years of dealing with it, I definitely have a design. And I'll show you, let's see. So like, and I do have, I don't know, I got like 3 spider codes left, but this kind of gives it an essence of the fact that I like a thumb hole opening or thumb slot. Doesn't have to be exactly the Spidey hole, but because that makes it nice and thin, you know what I mean? Sure. So that keeps that down. No flipper tab, of course. It doesn't have to be a lockback, but I like a lockback better. I think, the fidget factor of just doing that and closing it is a lot more fun. You know what I mean? Like I do that all the time.
Sure.
So I guess that's more of a style that I want it to be thin. I'm starting to get into a little bit more thinner knives like this. I just did the comparison of this riffle versus the Praxis. This riffle is pretty cool, man.
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah.
$55 knife for everything that they did to this and the design. This hits a lot of pack, and I don't even mind that little itty bitty flipper that's on there is barely noticeable in the fact that they did, you know, a little bit of the you see that, I don't know, there you go, the little bit where it's cut through there too, so it makes it even less noticeable. And dude, it's a really cool knife, you know. So I tend to gravitate towards those, something that has more of a thumb slot opening, and you know, good action is okay. I don't mind the whole like drop shut part. That doesn't matter to me. If you know, if you got to give it a little push shut, like that's fine. Even though this one, that riffle will definitely fly shut. So
oh yeah.
No, here's actually Brad again suggested, and I got really excited for this, that how do you pronounce this? Beg lighter, Kaiser.
Oh yeah.
And this is the Blade HQ M390 version. You got one too?
No, I thought I had my mini one laying here. I got a mini bag lighter off the their Friday Club. Have you ever seen that on a Facebook? Yeah, they sometimes have a Friday Club. I thought it was laying here. I guess it isn't. But I got one of the mini bag lighters. It came. It was red.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was red.
The only bad part about it was, well, of course it was red. But anyway, the only bad part about it is the steel was mislabeled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a misprint. I think it was supposed to be 154 cm, and I think it's labeled N690.
Oh, all right.
Or vice versa. It's one of those. I can't.
Sure.
I think it was supposed to be 150. It is 154 cm, but it was labeled N690.
Oh,
there's some misprint somewhere.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But you like the big lighter?
I do. I was quite shocked because typically, you know, bigger, I like to have, you know, a bit bigger meat, take up a little more meat than that, I guess, you know, but because it's a little thicker, and I really even dig the traction that's, you know, the little bit of texturing that they put on there. I like this knife a lot, and just for being, you know, bronze and stuff, like the action on it is pretty terrific. I mean, that to be able to almost drop all the way shut, you know, off of barely anything, and that's just washers. There's no bearings in there.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about it. I haven't done it, like even talked about this knife yet. I'm not a big fan of jade. In fact, I hate this jade color.
I am not a big fan of jade either.
I'm just
not. And
that's
I mean,
why we're friends.
I know jade is really, really popular right now because everything is coming out. I mean, you got exclusives in jade, you've got stuff being released in jade. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just not my thing.
No, me neither.
The best thing about jade, you can dye it any color you want.
That's right, buddy. That's what I'm talking about.
That's to me, you know. And you know, I know, but a lot of people love it, man. I mean, and that's why they're doing all these exclusives and everything. But no, it's just I never really caught on to it.
I didn't either. I debated. I was thinking about going black because it's simple, and I thought about Zach always does a good blue, like he likes that blue, and I thought this actually looked really good since it's all black hardware, and then maybe make that. Yeah. See.
Oh yeah, that would look really good.
That's what I'm gonna do.
If you could find one of those, like an electric blue or something.
Yeah. Like a deeper. I get this Swiss Army knife that's kind of a deeper. That
would look good. Yeah.
You know, I don't know. And that's, of course, you never really know how it's gonna exactly turn out when you dye it. But I like that idea. Like a cobalt blue seems to be a good color. You know? There you go. Yeah. So if I can find something like that, I think that's what I want to do with this. Because I've done, you know, the red and black. You know, always, you know, comment on each other's photos, and we get red and black. Yeah. But I don't have a blue knife other than that one Swiss Army, so I thought that might be kind of cool. But that was the first thing. So for my job now, I wear dress pants, so that certainly changes what I want to carry. Before I was wearing heavy duty cargo pants, and any knife can fit that. But now I tend to, you know, and it's like, well, I still like some bigger knives, but 5 days a week I don't carry them. So you know, I start leaning towards these kind of like thinner I love the fact that this comes in M390. I absolutely love that steel. So,
Oh yeah.
And it fits my hands really well. Okay, so tell me this though, if this bothers you, and again, I haven't done a review on this, but
Okay.
the fact that I'm going to talk about it. So the pocket clip, okay,
Yep.
the pocket clip, and the fact that when you flip it, you have to use the same pocket clip, but it takes that clip and runs it right along the side of there.
Yeah.
Have you ever paid that? I think that's such a, sorry to sound, but it's kind of lazy. Like, why not just put a secondary pocket clip so that it would ride that same way instead of riding way up front there? You know what I mean? Like, that
and
bugs
then, well,
me
it's
a
got
little
that
bit.
it's got that kind of angle that makes it kick out like that, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it's sitting on this side, so then you imagine the fact that, see how the screw holes are. That means that it's gonna go towards the front.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I did it just for the heck of it, and it literally rides right on the edge of the handle. I was like, that's silly. Why wouldn't they just put a secondary left-handed clip in there? But what do I know, right? I don't know. You know, somebody from Kaiser knows what they're doing up there.
And well, I mean, there again, you know, you talked about steel wheel Kaiser they kind of disappeared for a while. And I think that
they did.
I'm pretty sure it had a lot to do with Kim Ning leaving and starting Concept. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what it had, because he was their prime designer, and wasn't he their production manager as well? So I mean,
I believe I've heard that. Yeah,
he was. I mean, I think he was pretty pivotal to what Kaiser was doing.
Right.
At all, and losing him, I think it really kind of set them back a little bit. Now they're starting to come back a bit, and
So what, you've gotten to see a lot of those concept knives, right? Like, what do you think of all those? I haven't seen. I like that cryo looks really cool. It's same thing. It's got a big thumb hole flicker that I could use.
They've got a lot of cool designs. The ones I've found, the one thing that I have found with, and this is, I'm speaking just from the ones I've had my hands on, is I found some of them have pretty light detents.
There it is. Yeah, that's what I've heard that a lot.
And, you know, is it that big of a deal? No, it's not huge, but I mean, I don't want it to where I have to pry it open, but I don't, and not that I'm worried. I was never worried about them coming open in my pocket or anything like that. But I mean, you could pretty much just, I mean, you didn't have to give it much, and on a couple of them, and they would come open pretty easily. You know, is it a nitpick? Yeah, maybe.
Right.
But it's just, you know, there again, it boils down to, I like a little bit stiffer detent.
Yeah, it's a personal, but I mean, and that's a lot like this is the steel wool Sargus, and if I can do it on camera without, but this, if you get your, I can't do it on camera, but if you flick it down and out every time, that thing will pop out. But and I wasn't scared of it ever coming out of my pocket, but I agree, you know, and I've heard that multiple times. That's why I kind of asked.
Yeah.
But it seemed, and I could be wrong about this, but there's some of the cryos that have a different pocket clip. Some of them have the loop over deep carry pocket clip, and I think some of them have a straight pocket clip. And I wondered if that was also a change in the detent, just because there was, when the micarta ones came out, if they changed it, because I started trying to watch videos on the ones that have micarta and have the loop over pocket clip, and wonder if they changed the detent on it.
Now, see, the micarta one was one that I found was pretty loose.
Oh, okay.
It had the micarta one, that was, no, that wasn't the first one I saw. But the micarta cryo that I saw, that was, to be perfectly honest with you, that was probably one of the worst ones.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
As far as light detent goes. And I mean, when I say worst one, again, that's relative to my subjectivity, but it was kind of light. It was kind of light.
Right.
So
I don't know. It like you say, it's some people like that, and you can, you know, flick it rather easily or do whatever. But I don't know. It's part of talking about knives is always in the back of my head, like, well, you know, I want to just talk about them, but you know, you do, of course, your personal opinion gets inflected into it a lot as well. And then sometime
Sure.
I think like, well, I'm trying to just talk about the knife, not so much. But I know I don't. I mean, I guess that's part of it
But a
is
lot of times that's
enjoying
what
it.
people want to know.
Yeah,
They
yeah, you're
want to
right.
know your experience and that was one of the things that, I've talked about this several times with
Yes,
people, but as reviewers, we tend to review knives we like. It's
right,
just kind of
right.
it's just the way it is. And I've definitely gotten knives in from like the pass around group and been like, and sent it
Yeah,
on. And
yeah,
okay, that's fine. But, and that's kind of what this is my 2021, goals, I guess, is I don't want to do negative reviews, but I think I can speak for myself as a reviewer. Not only do I owe people reviews on knives that I like, I also owe them reviews on knives that I might not like. And if we have similar tastes, it might end up saving them 60, 70, $100 for them
yeah,
to, before, well, all right, I'll go out, JB did this review or whatever, he didn't have a lot of, and they go out and buy it. And I'm like, man, and then we talk. Trust me, I say this because, well, it's happened.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah,
they said, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right. And I should have been a little bit more forward about that in
yeah.
that point. I kind of mentioned it, I
Hmm.
didn't really go too deep into it, but, and I was like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, I get it. You're not doing you don't want to sit there and bash a knife, which I
Right,
don't. That's not what
right.
I'm here to do. I'm
Mhm.
here to put out information and you have to make your own decision.
Yeah.
But if there's something, I don't know if you saw my button lock Elementum video, but
You
um,
know what? I personally, I don't want to watch any video about the button lock element. I don't care about that knife one bit. So
okay,
no, I
okay,
did not watch that video,
okay.
man.
I have another one that's gonna be, well, by the time that this airs, it'll have been out. But uh, well, me and my love-hate relationship with CRKT.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Um, I had the Pilar 3. I love that knife.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Loved that knife.
Mhm.
Everything was done very well on that knife, in my opinion.
Totally agree. Absolutely.
I just had the Trask,
Okay.
which is it's similar in style
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
Pilar 3. Not saying anything.
Hmm.
Please, please keep your hate mail. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
yeah,
anything,
yeah.
but they're similar, and we see that a lot these days.
Sure,
Knives that are
sure.
similar. Okay, I
Yeah,
hear it all the
yeah.
time in videos, but that's
Right.
okay. That's okay because, but they're very similar, but it's a deadbolt lock knife now,
Yes. Yeah.
and oh, that knife was a hot mess.
Look, here's the thing with that. I think that look, I really enjoy taking apart knives. Some of the funnest videos that I do are the ones where I put a B-roll in there of me taking apart the knife. I like the
Hmm.
intricacies of what they've done inside. The
Hmm.
ant lock was really cool. The riffle I just did had a little different, stop pin, and that's a lot of
Yeah,
fun to me.
yeah, oh yeah.
But there's also a point you're like, what? I mean, that deadbolt, like, I get it. You're right. It's going to be serious, but every video I see of that thing, it seems like it's pretty hard, stiff to open. If I'm right, I don't know. And there's a lot of I think maybe that seismic was probably a better option for it versus that Trask. Or no, okay, there you go. Then forget it. JB says scrap it all.
Actually, to be perfectly honest with you, as far as the deadbolt goes,
Yeah,
I'm shaking the table. Sorry, earthquake.
yeah.
Um, the Trask was actually the one I liked the most
Okay,
as
all
far
right.
as the deadbolt goes.
Yeah.
Now, I can't remember. Did I do an unboxing of it? I don't. It was either that or I know I showed it off on SKL and maybe it was a comment on SKL or something. But somebody commented and they were like, "Hey, I'm really thinking about the Pilar 3 or the Trask." And I'd had the Trask for a day,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Buy the Pilar 3 and save yourselh $50."
Yeah. Yeah.
A deadbolt lock, because it's $100 knife.
Right.
It's very similar to the Pilar 3 in shape, materials, everything else. The only thing difference is Pilar 3 is a frame lock. The Trask is a deadbolt or a deadbolt. Save $50 and buy a Pilar 3.
Right. Right.
I mean, and I hate saying that, and I hate because I really like Eric Oakes's designs.
Sure.
And you know, I almost want to like contact Eric Oakes via like Instagram and like, dude, I love that design, but CRKT,
No, not so much, huh?
Well,
it's cool.
It's gonna, well, it's already out, so people are. It was horribly off-centered.
Oh yeah.
I could not get it centered because the tension bar with the deadbolt lock is kind of, that's kind of what keeps acts as your detent, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah.
It had that thing shoved all the way over to the clip side. I mean,
right.
It was almost rubbing. So you back off the tension bar and then it just sits there and does this. You have no detent.
Right.
You know, you basically have, and it's like, come on, this is another great design.
So that's a good point right there. Is how many designs have we seen that are ruined by an opening mechanism or a lock mechanism? We're like, man, if this had just been a liner lock, this would have been
Can we go back to the Elementum? No.
Yeah. Listen, no, you can, dude. I went on when they posted those things on the Civivi's Instagram.
Right.
I was commenting. I literally commented, I'm begging you, make this knife. It was bigger. It had a cool color.
Oh yeah.
Odie green and black.
Yeah.
It had a cool color combo. It was everything. I'm like, just go put a flipper. I'll even accept a flipper tab at this length with this color. And I think even the steel was, isn't the steel different on that one? What's the steel on the button?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot.
See, I've ignored it so much I can't remember, but I remember reading it thinking like, oh,
shoot.
It's not
D2.
What is the steel?
What is the steel? Oh, man.
Here, make up something to talk about. I got my phone right here. You watch this.
Well, yeah, I do too. I guess.
Tell everybody a joke or something.
No, when I first saw it, because the first time I really looked into it is we did that. A bunch of us did a channel chat we were talking about 2021 models.
Right.
And that was the first thing we come up with. They were like, okay, it's a button lock. Cool. And they're like, but there's no other opening mechanism. Is it 14C?
The base one's 14C 20.
Okay.
Is the base.
Okay.
See, so I was like, good. Leave that steel. Give us this cool color combo. It's a little bit longer, a little bit sleeker. Put the flipper and the liner lock back on. And I was like, oh, because I didn't get onto the Elementum band. I never owned one. I was very close. Actually, Lavender Pants 86 Jesse, who I talk about quite often. Yeah. He had the S35 version and he put purple scales on it. I don't really like purple. And he was gonna sell it to me pretty cheap. And I was like, I don't know, because I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I've held them and messed with them and stuff. If I was ever to buy one, that S35 version, and actually I've seen Blade HQ now has the olive green micarta I was like, and it's $80. And I'm not saying, and we can always talk about it. It always mixes whether it's that expensive, is that budget, whatever. For me, that's closer to my top tier, $100. And I always say joke that I'm peeking over the fence of $100. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So at like $80, it's like, yeah, but there's a lot of other knives that I kind of want beside that. So anyways, that would have been a win if they were to relaunch that with the 14C 28N and put a flipper. I would buy that. I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah. But anyways, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. And I liked to be perfectly honest with you, there's not a lot of Civivi knives that I haven't liked. I've liked a lot of me personally, I've liked.
I know.
I mean, there's been some, I mean, you can't like them all. And but I didn't get on that thing just like blew up.
Oh, amazingly.
That really surprised me. That really surprised me. I mean, it's got a good hollow. I mean, it's a good knife. It's a really good knife. But to blow up like it did, I was like, really?
Yeah. I mean, it just surprised me. It went cut jack. It went blue cut jack. Cut jack was that was a really popular knife when it got launched. Was still about that cut jack. But that Elementum just traveled way past that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
but no, and I don't know. I just never jumped on it, and I don't know if I will. So that here, and I've said this with Civivi before. And I like the company, okay, but this is just us talking about knives, and when we say, I thought they got into sort of a Kershaw kind of pattern of like same knife, little different, same knife, little different, same, like, and I'm looking
that
at
happened.
specifically Dogma, Ortis,
Yeah.
was it Badlands? It was like,
Oh yeah.
okay, so I sort of looked away, and I actually, going back to what we're talking about reviewing knives that maybe we don't like. I had the Ortis. I reviewed the Ortis. I watched it back. I go, I'm falling asleep listening to this. This is boring. So I deleted it. And I told Brad that. I said, dude, I just can't. This knife is too boring. I feel like in the video, I'm not doing it justice, because a lot of people like this Civivi Ortis.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back and I said, okay, I had another little time set aside. I recorded again. And I got 3/4 of the way through, and I go, I can't do this. And I deleted it and sold the knife. It was gone. I was like, forget this, man. And I felt bad because I know a lot of people liked it.
Yeah.
And I liked the look, but something just didn't correlate there. So,
Sure.
but and I've said this too, I give them a lot of credit. That riffle, I have the brazen on loan right now as well. This is terrific.
Dude, the new drop point brazen and the burgundy.
Yeah, I listen. Here's my thing with that. I know. I think you and I agree. You're not a Tonto fan either, right?
Not really. Not. I mean,
me neither. But I think with this, they did, and I haven't talked about this knife either. But they did a couple of things right. Like the I don't have anymore. The cold steel Airlight. Did you get to look at that knife ever?
Yeah, I've never had one in hand, but I've seen it plenty. Yeah.
So they came out with, they have a Tonto version of that as well.
Right.
But that looks literally like they just, and cut the end of that thing off. It doesn't make sense. It's a sharp, it doesn't look right. This, to me, it looks more like this was planned. It was meant to be this. I don't know. I kind of agreed. I heard somebody else say, actually, I think it was Brad, say that when it came out now as a drop point, well, now it's just kind of every other knife. I don't know.
Well, and that is true. Trust me, I get that for sure.
It blends in a little more.
Sure, and it most certainly does. I just like the fact that they have it, that burgundy color is really. I like that color. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Tantos, do they have their place? Yes, without a doubt. But I will tell you what, the brazen and the keen natter.
Can we?
Oh, you didn't like it?
You didn't like that knife? I don't care about the
okay.
knife.
Oh, aside from the name,
names are so
aside from
funny
the name,
aside
from the name,
yeah.
Especially the brazen.
Yeah.
I started. My thinking about Tantos kind of started to change a little.
I like the key natter was a little too lean for me. I didn't like kind of how it was stretched out. I think if I were to, I don't own any Tontos, but this I would like. I honestly, I have this on my list to buy, and what I want to do with it, because they did that same cool thing, with the stop bar is part of the blade. I don't know, is that coming through at all? I don't know. I can't see.
Okay.
But the stop bar is part of the blade instead of having one back here, the stop pin. So you could easily get rid of this flipper tab. The flipper tab doesn't, all the action is perfect through the thumb stud.
Right.
So that would just be a little side project for me. The fact that I could get the just satin blade of this, get rid of that little flipper tab, and then have a very clean silhouette when it's all said and done. But the only downside is this only satin one comes with purple composite pieces. And so I was going to talk to Jesse, since this is his, and see if he would, if I bought the purple one, I could swap him, put his black stuff on there. You know what I mean? So he would end up with a purple and black knife again, which I think you'd be cool with. Or I'm going to just die. I'm going to get the purple one and dye it, I guess. But, But I get, anyways, the whole point is I give Civivi a lot of, I think they really sat down. And, this is also, I believe, a testament to our community and social media in general, and the fact that we have a lot more pull now when we come together, and they have to read these comments around like, you're boring, stop it, move on, whatever that looks like. And so maybe they really sat down and said, all right, let's come out with some new designs here. Let's really break, and it's, I don't want to say break ground, but let's give them something what they want. And I think that they did. There's some good knives that they put out. So I do like Civivi over. I don't think anyone can ever really argue that they have it all locked down for price, materials, and quality, fit and finish. I think that's fantastic. So
yeah, I mean, for me, it's Civivi's pretty much got that $50 to $100 range pretty much sealed up.
Right.
They really do. I mean, and the fact that now, whatever they're doing with Sencut, I'm still not 100% sure. I thought I knew what they were doing with that, but now I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought, because I thought Sencut was going to be the D2 9CR, and then Civivi was going to be the 14Cs, the S35s, the N6, whatever they're throwing. But then a lot of these newer knives came out in D2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I was wrong. What are we doing now?
Yeah,
so, I mean, but they do. And I really like the fact that they are using more of those, like I love 14C28, S35 is a good steel, and they're keeping them, keeping them affordable.
Right.
And I mean, they've inched up a bit.
Yes, they have a little bit, but I mean, I'm glad you, but like S35 is one of the ones that bring up too, where, and it's again, us as a community, we have a bit of power where if everyone I'm bored. Well, then suddenly they're like, oh, well, now D2 suddenly sucks. Like, look, it's still a good steel, but it has been shoved down into the budget range. I've talked to guys. I had a terrific conversation at one of the last gun shows I went to. There was a knife maker there, older gentleman, and I had a long talk with him, and he was just raving about how awesome D2 was, and he would love to keep, he keeps using D2 all the time to make his knives. And he's like, I've been making knives for 30 years. And this tool steel used to be so much higher ranked. But now so many companies are making new steels in that premium high-end category that everything's just getting, shoved down a notch. What I mean? That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Because I've heard people say the same thing about S35. That's why I'm glad you brought that. That's it. It's boring or whatever. Now look, man, S35 is awesome. It's a terrific steel.
Never ever had an issue with S35.
Never
had an issue with it.
And most of it boils down to, I mean, for me anyways, how often you want to sharpen your knives. Like, if they're stained, I know, D2 is not really on the stainless side at all, or a little bit or whatever. But, like when we talk about 14C28N versus, 9CR18 or whatever, I mean, molecularly, they're quite similar. It was the last video I just released. I just put a screenshot up to even kind of give people an idea that they're quite similar, but and those are viewed kind of in that same area, but really 8CR isn't too far off, but we know that the 8CR has been ran to death. And so it's just like, come on, something new, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I guess that's also us as collectors, we don't always want the same thing. We just want something new, why I'm looking at one of my drawers, that's got 15 knives, and I need one. Why don't but it's part of what we do is collecting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, and you talk about having pull. Why do we have so much D2?
Yeah,
we asked for it.
We asked for it, and now we're bored with it. So,
exactly.
Right. There's nothing wrong with D2, but we kept saying D2. Now everybody put their flag away and it's like D2 sucks. We want 9CR. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute, and they're unfortunately for all those manufacturers, they bought a whole stockpile of D2, and they're like, what do we do now?
They're like, what do these people want, man?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I mean, and it's human nature. It's human nature.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because we want something until we have it.
Yep.
And then we're bored with it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, seriously, that happens a lot.
That sums up knife collecting 100%. How often? And I think I know I'm not the only person that's in the category of when you hit buy, what's the next knife I get to buy? You know what I mean? I haven't even received, this hasn't even got a confirmation from an email yet. And I'm already thinking about that next one. You know what I mean? So let alone when you get it in your hand
this one.
Fidget.
What's next?
What's next? You just shift right back over to Blade HQ and start scrolling down, looking at everything else.
Start
I mean,
loading
I
up
think
your
it's,
card again.
yeah, like it's funny, you know,
Oh
it's
yeah,
really funny.
but that's it. You know, that's the thrill of the hunt, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
part of it, I think. Well, it's a big part of collecting. You know, for
yeah,
serious collectors,
right,
you know, I mean, and we're talking probably more higher end knives, of course, too.
right, right,
But with limited runs and all that good stuff, you know.
yeah,
Um, but that's it. It's the thrill of the chase. It's like when, okay, I got this one.
right.
Now I got to find this one.
Well, and that's like a really great example. You got a QSP. I know you've had some QSPs, but this
Oh yeah.
QSP Hawk, I love it. Again, this was another suggestion by Brad for me to purchase this. Well, this is the, you know, the 14C28 version. Well, they make an S35 version, so why would, you know, it's like I need
Yeah.
that one too. And I
Yeah.
like these micarta scales. I would like to take these micarta scales, you know, so you get a little project in your mind. Oh, I could swap these around, and then that gives me another picture for Instagram. And you know, and it's like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like it's something so funny. And then, you know, I'm like, oh wait, I'm a 4-year-old dad. What am I doing with all this stuff? You know, but
Well, that
it's
was
all
like you talk
fun.
about QSP. That was the Penguin.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When
Oh
the
yeah.
Penguin came out in the red micarta, I was like,
I need that. I need
yeah,
that.
that's
Yeah.
me. That's me.
Right.
And I had, you
Right.
know, I didn't have the blue jean micarta. I just had the, what is it, gray?
Right. I had the blue jean one. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, which is nice. Trust me,
It is.
that's a nice one. But then I saw that and I was like,
Uh-huh.
I already have a penguin, but I
Right.
don't have a red micarta
I
penguin.
don't have a red one. I gotta get the red one. Look, I can say that about, and I really wish. So I had, you know, when I was doing the red and black stuff, the Saint Nick's Native 5,
Yeah.
you know, and that beautiful red. And this, I needed this one. I had to have this one at the time. And you know, it's funny. Last night I was contemplating selling this because now it just sits here, and I've already had it. And I don't, you know, it's like maybe I'll sell this. But I would say that I love the Native 5 so much. If they came out with, you know, this nice, you know, OD green black setup for this guy, I would probably buy that and sell this thing in a minute. You know, because we
Yeah.
move along in phases too. You know
Oh
what
yeah.
I mean? Where
Oh
we
yeah.
like different colors, or we like different designs or whatever. And that's honestly, again, another good thing about the community is like you're involved in that. The Apex pass around, you know, I kind of jump started this BPEX pass around, you know, just to be funny or whatever, but it's
No,
already
but that's
grown.
awesome.
It
That's
is, yeah,
awesome.
it is,
Because
it is.
anytime I talk to, you know, like channels starting out, you know, people ask you, you know, people, same thing I did. I asked people questions.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah,
like, you know what, you know, this, you know, I'm obviously you're small, you don't have a lot of content. What can I do for content? The first thing I tell them is find other channels
yep,
that are around your size and help one another out. That
yep,
is, you know, that is exactly what myself, Blue Collar Survival, Zeb when he was Woodland Tactical, John from Grateful Panic. That's what we did. We
right,
just kind of made our own little group and
yeah,
started sending knives back and forth to one another.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's really what it needed to be. You know, it started. I think it actually was Shredder and I, John, you
Hmm.
know, Ezekiel, and then his dad, John.
Hmm.
I was talking to him about Asher knives, and then he messaged me and he said, "Hey, you know, we'll send you some." And I said, "Good, I'll send you some."
Hmm.
And so then he said, "Well, maybe we should start a group." And then you know, I threw out the name. I'm like, "Yeah, well, they're the Apex. We'll be the Apex. You know, we're second tier." Like, just joking, but it stuck. And then since then, you know, I was like, "Oh,
Well,
that's
I'm
nice."
glad you chose BPEX.
I know. I was like, "Oh, you know what I mean?" Like, we had all sorts of jokes. You know, Apex is the highest. Maybe we'll be the Valley, you know, or something dumb like. But BPEX just sort of stuck, and then it was kind of funny. And then, you know, we started getting other people, and we got John from Grateful Panic was
Hmm.
our third guy that we brought in.
Hmm.
And then from there, you know, Nebby Cloud, and now I don't. I unfortunately for maybe mostly for me, they probably don't. But the fact that I'm getting busy enough that, you know, we have a big chat log, so we have one main chat log where it's just we're talking about life almost every day.
Sure.
And then we had to start another one to actually
Oh
kind of
yeah.
concentrate
Oh
on,
yeah.
hey, this is our knives, you know what I mean?
All right,
But
guys. We're talking about everything but knives on this, and yeah, so you
yeah,
end up. Oh, trust me, been there, done
uh,
that for sure. Yeah,
yeah,
without a
yeah,
doubt. But that's the cool part about it.
Yeah.
It's because you get together with these people and you form these relationships. I mean, there are people that I talk to I don't talk to my family as much as I talk to these people.
Right. I know how that goes.
I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
I know. It's a lot. And sometimes, and I think too that it's a little bit of a freedom, that you can just type something out. All right. You're not feeling whatever that may be, and not drudging up anything, but even if it's just having a good day, type it out. And then we all get instant gratification when our phone goes off. Oh, something new to talk about, something new to look at, whatever. So you hear a little beep and maybe it's a response to your comment, on and on. So it bridges a little bit of a gap that, I think a lot of us were kind of missing, not only for our channel, but because of, everything to do with the code being shut down.
Yeah.
It's just a way for a lot of people to communicate. And then again, I think, there's 12 or so people in there now, but I'm unfortunately, my work's getting a little busy, so I can't keep up with a lot of the stuff that's on there. But my idea of just, getting together with John and we planted the seed and now it's just growing. So good. BPEX keep growing, you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
And it'll help out more. We keep getting more and more people that are all just, like you said, smaller channels. Good. We'll ship you 3 knives. We'll ship you 3 knives. You know what I mean? And just kind of keep passing around. So
no, that's fantastic. That's perfect. That's the way it should be. And spoiler alert, okay?
Yeah.
Real quiet. Keep it down low.
Okay, but, just between me and you.
Yeah, just between me and you. I may be talking to Jason NebuCloud about doing a BPEX channel chat.
Oh, really trying to get all of us together?
Well, at least, I mean,
as many as we can.
Yeah, doing like a group chat with the BPEX.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Group.
That'd be really cool.
I've done the group ones like that before, and they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun because you get all different, you pick a knife or whatever, and you got 6 different people, you might get 6 different opinions.
Right. Oh, for sure you will. Yeah.
And, but it's fun. That's what's fun about doing those. And then of course, just you end up being goofy or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's easy enough just to kind of talk.
Right.
Yeah, no, that would be really cool. You know what I mean? We've talked about it before too. It happened. They had one where, since our time zones are all off and stuff like that as well. They did it one night when I was already in bed. They had a conversations with each other. The one night I was driving home and my phone went off. I'm like, oh, this is BPEX channel. I'm like, what is, and I didn't even know what it was. So I just flipped it on, but I was able to just set up my cup holder and just listen. And I could just talk. It was, I was by myself in my truck, so it was all dark. But I could just talk to them dudes, So here we got 6 people. I think it was maybe 6 of us. And we were just talking as I was driving home. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. You know what I mean? Just talking about knives or whatever. So.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's fun to do in this format too. But it's just fun to get together, and we've done that with a few people as well. Just kind of do like an Instagram chat or whatever, and just talk. And it's a lot of fun.
Well, it is, and I think that there's a lot. We all give Ray credit. Thank you, Ray, for bringing this forward into our community's podcasts and stuff. Because this long form, I think, to me, I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So for my job, I drive around a lot.
There you go.
I got to go to all the different client stuff. So I just have my phone plugged in. I listen to it, and so like yours is always on YouTube, so I can just let it play. And then when I get to my next stop, if you were talking about something, showing a knife, I'll go back and look to see what you were talking about or whatever, And I do that with Ray's too. So I appreciate this stuff. And I think a lot of people do too, that, it's just this part, like I said, we're getting to know each other a little bit more than just the hands talking about knives, So I think this is a trend that's going to keep happening. How many, there's Beater Gear, Jake Beater Gear, he's got one too. And that trio, Lefty and all them. So it's going to keep growing, I think. I think it's a cool idea.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I really did. I had no. Well, okay. I'm sorry. I lied. I didn't have a lot of experience with podcasts until Ray.
Yeah.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I did one with Alex and Tom Hosang and Super Steel Steve. I did theirs like way back.
Yeah.
You know, but I never was really into. I watched that one, of course.
Yeah.
And I watched them a little bit, but I never got into it until you know, Ray really started his, and then I really like, oh, all right, this is you know, this is pretty cool.
I've listened to some of those too. There's some of those where they dive real far into knife steel and stuff like that, and even the higher end knives, you know.
Right.
And, I really enjoy listening to these channel chats and to Ray's because it's, and you know, maybe some guys will flip off because we're not, you know, flip away from this because we're not talking about knives so much, you know, but I think this is really what it's all about too.
Oh yeah,
getting to know
exactly,
each other, you know?
Exactly. Sure. I mean, we talk about knives and we'll be like, ooh, you know,
that thing.
I had to get it in there.
Listen,
I had to get it in there. Oh, come on now. I had to get it in there.
God,
but
hate that thing.
Dude, did you see, I don't know if you've seen it, but did you see what KC did to his?
No.
Nice fast.
Listen, if I see Evitech in there, I just keep on scrolling, man. This is the longest running.
You might like it though. You might like this one though.
I did see the title, so I know that he must have done something, beat the snot out of.
Oh yeah. Like oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what
it's kind of okay. I won't show you that one again, but I'll use a bug out. I'll use my pseudo Evitag, but it's kind of this shaped now. Oh yeah. Nice. The funny part about it though, because his action kind of sucked on, you know, and well, surprise.
Don't they all?
Actually, but I gotcha. But it actually, the more he beat on it, the better the action got. It was hilarious. It was by the time he had just destroyed this knife, it's like, wow. It's almost like it's assisted or an auto. It's just flipping out. Yeah. But I mean, he was doing this with the blade. So you know, he had just But so you might enjoy that one. You might enjoy that.
Yeah, that actually I mean that's what that knife needs to do. I told somebody else that the best way, listen, you take care of the box. You open up the box, you get it out, you flip it and throw it right over in the trash can because that's where that knife belongs. Like I just can't stand this thing. It's made its rounds, and I get it. It's a funny gag.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But and I joke that those people that the Dolica.
It'll never replace the Dolica.
No, that's right. See, I think that's original. It was comical. Yes. It was cool. To me, that thing that's got a little history to it. This Evitech is the same. I can go to any gas station and find some turd in a showcase. Oh, here, this is the new, everybody needs this. Like, it's just so weird, man. It's a long running gag that, you know what I mean? Like, who cares about this knife? And we talk about that in that BPEX pass on people. Oh man, you gotta have Jason Nebbycloud. He's a big one. You gotta have an Evitech. And he did some artsy fartsy version of it, you know. Jason, I told you I was gonna talk about you, but but he actually, I don't know why I said nobody knows I'm on this, but I didn't tell anybody from any of that. Nobody knows we're doing this. My wife knows and stuff, but I mean from the knife community. Oh, Brad knows. I text him, but so this will be cool when this airs. But regardless, that Evitech thing, and I'm so over that knife. It's so funny.
But you did bring up Jason real quick, and I tell you what, I have to too, because Jason is just, man, that guy is so creative and so.
Dude, here's the real core of Jason, and I you know, it's not, again, I only know him through text, so
right?
But I cannot tell you how many times he brings up somebody. Hey, we need to help him. We need to help this person. Let's let them into the group. Let's help that dude. I bet for all eternity he's one of the biggest hearts. You know what I mean? He wants to help out everybody.
Yeah.
And in turn, I've had conversations with him like, dude, you don't freak out about it, you know, because he'll get to where he's got a lot of nice review. And again, I don't think I'm speaking ill of him, and I don't think he'll mind this, but because the core of it, the dude's got a big heart, and he really spreads himself out thin. And but he's a good dude. and you're right, the creative side of it, you know, how many does he done now? All intros, and I use mine as an outro because I think it fits
Yeah.
there nicely.
Yeah.
And he did that one, the same thing. He did that one. I was like, no, man, don't. You're doing enough for everybody else. Don't do one for me. It's fine. I never had one. And then boop, there it shows up on my Instagram feed.
Yeah,
or,
pretty
know,
much.
in the DM. I'm like,
Yeah.
geez, this is cool.
Yeah.
He's a good dude, really.
Oh, yeah. And I've done a channel chat with him. I got the opportunity to talk with him, and it was,
yeah.
He's just a really cool dude to talk to, man. He's just, to be perfectly honest with you, no offense, he was a lot older than what I thought he was.
Yeah. 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 He comes
and that's nothing.
But,
it just surprised me. It just surprised me.
He does seem a little younger and stuff like that as well. Yeah, I think so. And I don't, you know, it's hard to mention one person, right? Because there are many people.
My goodness.
I don't want anyone to get offended.
No, I got you.
I mentioned Brad several times. You know, you see Brad. I talk to that dude a lot.
You know, Brad just lives right down the road from me.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm a little sad, man. I'd like to meet up with that dude sometime. I don't think that'll ever happen, but him and I, you know, we've talked quite often. And like I said, we call each other where he's not at work and I'm, you know, driving around. So we've had phone conversations for an hour or something like that.
Sure.
But there's a lot of cool people, you know, just like we talked about, the generosity. The first, and I said this jokingly, but the first little chat group I was in, again, if I hadn't started it, I don't know if that I would be part of it, because they had some really cool big names in it. That's Sean with Geared Towards Gear. And I've mentioned these guys a lot. JD of Shadowborn Hanks, Brad was in there. Mark, who's a dude right down in Columbus, man, who's been really cool. And to think that those dudes, I think Sean was trying, EDC Collective, I believe it was called.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was looking for a specific knife, and that's how that chat started, where I reached out to all those guys and I said, you know, I was looking for a specific knife. And then I left that chat open. Well, then they just all kept talking. I'm like, oh, hey, I'm part of the cool kids group for what, you know, like, this is neat. You know, I don't have anything to offer you guys, but this is neat, you know. Well, then, you know, like when I got laid off, for just that little bit of time, then that's when, where did it go? My bug out. My bug out. Oh, that was in my pocket. Oh, it's in my pocket. Look at that. The bug out. This showed up secretively to me, and it was those 4 dudes. They got together and got me this, and I'm not kidding. The big man welled up over that. You know, this was like a moment where I'm like, man, you know, I lost my job. I was okay. Again, thousands of people had it way worse. But I had lost my job, and I thought, man, you know, I never lost a job. I've only walked out of a job on my
right.
And then for this thing to show up, so there are too many people to name, but you know, there's just so much generosity, so many great people to talk to. It really opens up a lot of doors.
That's like I said, there's several of them that I talk to daily.
Yeah,
you know, I just talk to them pretty much. You know, if not, it's pretty close. It is really, really close. And I mean, and there again, now it might be via like the chat groups and stuff like that in some cases. But I mean, you're still talking to them and communicating with them and stuff. And it's, you know, but there's a lot of them, it's one-on-one. You know, there's a lot of one-on-one communication that happens quite frequently. Like I said, I talk to them probably more than I talk to most of my family. So
but it comes out of that too.
It's pretty cool that you can form those relationships and just basically see what comes from them. You know, and it's fantastic. And I mean, and that's something I think we talk about that I've talked about that in every single channel chat, but to me, that is the core of this community.
Yep. And I've said this before too. I think that, and to me, it almost needs to be a slogan, that this community has outgrown our hobby. You know what I mean? Like people come in for a knife or two, and then they hang out a lot longer because they're like, man, there's a whole lot of people in here. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you get into chat groups, you get into everything, even if it's just a little bit here or there. And, you know, the first time I started trading knives, you know, and it's like, I dropped Instagram before I ever had a channel. I dropped Instagram a couple of different times where, you know, my main goal, of course, is my family. So if anything gets in the way of that, I'm going to get it. And so Instagram was kind of, taking over too much. So I dropped Instagram, and it was about a week. This was a while back. So this Jake from Ohio State is technically, I think, my third name. I mean, I've had Instagram for a while, but where I would have it for a little bit, like, okay, I want to separate. I want to make sure I'm focused here. But when I had dropped it, I had a different name. And I don't know how, but a guy that I had traded with and talked with and stuff, and he lives down in Florida. All of a sudden, I get a text from a number. He's like, "Hey, this is Rob. I had to reach around. Shoot, I had to reach to multiple different people. I got a hold of your number. Is that okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man. I've talked quite a bit. Now I text with that dude all the time. You know what I mean? And like, it's somebody that I'm probably never gonna meet, but it's cool that you form a bond off of such a thing as a knife. And again, I say that I think that we as a community have outgrown the hobby itself.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair statement. I really do. And I mean, and more to that point, I'm not going to Blade Show. I'm not making that. I am planning on going to Blade Show West.
Okay. Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest with you, okay, I'm going to Blade Show West to see the knives and all that. But I'm going to Blade Show West to see and meet people. Yeah. That's gonna be the primary reason I go.
Yes. Yeah, I would too. I mean, I would love, like, Russell seems like such a cool dude. I would love from Artisan. I would love to talk with
Russell's hilarious.
Yeah, he's seen all the interviews and podcasts I've seen him on. I would love to talk to that dude. I think he just seems really cool. So things like that. I would do the same thing. It would, you'd be looking at a table like, well, wait a minute, that's Russell from Artisan, or what? You'd start pointing. Oh, there's Ben. Hey man, and little things like that. I would be the same way. Where again, I'm so social that I probably would skip over a lot of knives and just be talking to so many people. Seeing yourself.
Well, that happened. That happened to me all the time. Yeah. I'd be walking around. I mean, this year, because not last year, the 2019 when it was in Portland. Yeah. I was down there, and you go around and you talk, but you're there for 3 days. It's not really. It's a lot smaller than Atlanta. A lot smaller.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I found myself back at David Blade Banner. He does the QSP table.
Right.
I found myself back at his table talking to him, back at Artisan talking to Russell, and Dylan was there. Dylan Mallory was with him.
Yeah, that dude's cool.
Adrian from Damn Designs.
Yep.
That's what I was doing. I was at their tables talking to them. And half the time, well, probably more than half the time, we weren't even talking about knives.
No. Yeah. Right.
And that's what it was. There. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that was the most fun for me. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was pretty cool walking around Blade Show West with Nick Shabazz for like an hour talking knives. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was. It was cool. Right. But, it's the people. I mean, that's the whole reason I'm going.
I mean, I even have that at little local, my dad and I go to about every gun show we can. And there's one up north of me there that I go to quite often. And there's nobody famous there whatsoever. But I know the dealer, that there's 2 or 3 actual knife dealers there. And then there's just a bunch of guys, such as myself or whatever, that just have a private collection. But I've gotten to know those people. So I go to talk to those people. Just like I said, I had that conversation with that older guy that was a knife maker. I mean, that's where he was. But because I have talked to that dude 2 or 3 times already. And then I just decided to have a longer conversation with him about stuff. So that's where I find myself a lot of times, I don't know. I enjoy talking to people, I'm not saying they're all great. All right. Don't get me wrong. I've met my fair share of people that, I didn't care for, but I talked to them first to find out that I did not like them. You know what I mean? But that's okay,
too funny. Too. That's too funny. No, I mean, and there are, trust me, there is going to be that, because certain personalities just don't go together.
Yes.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Now, I think with what we do and what we like, there's obviously a lot of similarities and we have a lot of similar personalities. So I think that's why it's obviously why you mesh so well with a lot of people. But yeah. I mean, there's probably somebody out there that didn't really care to talk to me, and that's okay because
right.
It's the way it's going to be.
I know. And I mean, but in this form, this almost gives an introvert a little way to be an extrovert. You know what I mean? Because
definitely.
Exactly you said, really, this is only two people talking. If you can keep it out of your brain that 2,000 more people might watch this video.
Right.
But it gives people a way to communicate that might not normally have broken out of their shell. Face to face, they get a little nervous, but computer to computer, it's not so bad.
Exactly. Exactly.
And all stuff.
And a lot of people, that's what they need. They need that to break the ice.
Yeah.
Because if you can break the ice this way,
yes, right,
then you might not be so introverted and you can talk to people a little easier and that type of thing. And look at us being therapists. It's all cool and stuff.
I know. My wife says that all the time too.
I had to say that though, because I just did one with Peter, a Therapeutic Edge.
Oh yeah, right.
And he is a therapist, so
yeah. I don't know. I'm breaking that stuff too. My wife will, like if I got to call a company for a warranty or a claim or whatever, she's like, "Well, what life lesson did they learn now?" And I said, "I didn't talk like that." But that's the way it is.
That's hilarious.
No, I'm not doing that. But I mean, even like I was at my aunt and uncle's house. They wanted to upgrade. This will just be a quick story, but they wanted to upgrade all their internet and stuff like that, right? And I worked part of the. Can I say brand names, or if I say it 3 times, does somebody owe you money, like Candyman or something like that?
No.
Is that okay?
You can say whatever you want to say.
Okay, right. So I worked at Geeks. I was a part of Geek Squad for a better part of over 10 years, right?
Okay.
So, and so I know quite a bit. My old dog just walked in here. So I know a decent amount, like hooking all that stuff up. Now I was on. The majority of that time was car audio, car electronics side of stuff.
Okay.
But I did have to do, I switched over towards the end towards home theater, which put me into, networking and things as well. But anyways, so they wanted me over there. Okay, so I go over there and I have to act like basically I'm their son, and I call the local cable company and they want to upgrade everything, So I call and talk to them, and at the end of it, my aunt says, did you work with that girl before? And I said, no, I don't even know where she lives. Well, she's like, you but you're not like friends with her or something. I go, no. And she goes, well, then how by the end of that conversation were you trading recipes for pot roast? I said, I don't know. That's just the way I work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just started talking to the lady, but
hey, I don't know her, but you know what? Now I got a pretty kicking recipe for a pot roast. I'm telling you.
That's doggone right. I got a pretty good pot roast.
I know what I'm making this weekend.
And that's the way a lot of conversations go. I used to. Yeah. I don't drink. I'm not a drinker, but my dad was just a casual drinker, and he used to own a bar for a little bit, and I would go into the bar and just sit and talk with people. This was before, my wife and everything, but I would go and just sit and talk with people. It was the same thing. Like, I didn't know you at the beginning of the night, but I'm probably going to know quite a bit about you, because I would just, again, if you talk just a little bit and they'll, let them talk, usually you can find something. I don't know. That's just who I am, I guess. But, I think this is awesome because it gives people the chance to do that. So yeah, I appreciate you guys doing this stuff.
Trust me, there again, it's kind of a little selfish because it's a lot of fun for me to do. So
yeah.
So, but I really would like to get us together. If we could get together with you. That's the hardest part about doing groups like that, though, is the scheduling and getting. Yeah. So you pretty much just have to kind of like throw it out there and say, hey, if you can jump on.
Yeah, I agree. That's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we're going to end up having to do, because, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, we wouldn't be doing this right now if it wasn't an absolutely beautiful day out today and I decided, I don't think I want to go to work today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't think of you and I work.
That's pretty much what, because I work swing shift. So
yes, you do.
But we didn't have a lot going on today. There wasn't a lot going on. And I got up this morning and I was out. I mean, it was the perfect, sunshine, not a cloud in the sky. It was like by 11 o'clock in the morning, it was like 68 degrees. I'm like, there is no way I'm wasting this day at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I didn't
And
even think
so,
of it. I forgot you said you and I work different shifts, and then we're 3
yeah,
hours time zone difference as
yeah.
well. So
So that's
it
quite
is
a, it can be challenging,
right.
and
Right.
it's now if I worked a normal shift, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because
Mhm.
we just do it in the evening and it
Right.
is what it is. But
Yeah, you can
okay,
catch
it's
us on
my fault. I
Mavis.
know, it's my fault.
I-
But no,
maybe.
I would really like to do that and get a bunch of people together again and
Yeah.
just talk
Yeah.
about the BPEX and stuff. And it's
Right.
it's a lot of fun. I tell you what, I think I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up, but I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick before I do that. Okay.
All right, boss.
Now,
Let's do it.
I'm not gonna ask any family secrets or anything like that. That's not where we're going. But
I'm an open book.
if there's one knife, if I told you, you tell me the knife you want, and it'll be at your door in 3 days, what would
Yeah.
that knife be?
So it's an easy question, and I gotta call Sean if he ever watches this, geared towards gear. He's got, well, I don't know if he still has it. He sells them. He sells a lot too. But he had the knife that I wanted, and that's the there's a Spartan Harsey folder but it's I believe it's called the Golden Compass edition, where it's blacked out, and then on the handle of it though, it has like a old school
Yeah,
compass.
I've seen
See,
pictures of that.
that's one of my second. I don't want to say hobbies, but something I love old maps and old compasses. I think they're
Mm,
super cool. I would
sweet.
love to kind of divulge into that someday as well. After knives, I guess, get some old maps to hang up and old compasses. I think that's just really neat. And so that brings two worlds together, and that's, I mean, it's just a cool knife,
Oh,
anyways.
sure.
But that I would want that one. I think that's really cool. But flip side of that is I would never want to use it. I would just, it's like, let's put that in a drawer. And that's another reason why I've always stayed around that sort of 100-ish dollar. I mean, I've had a couple that are 200. I have that Tasso, the steel with Tasso, that's like 180 or something like that.
Hmm.
But I've used this a lot, and that's, when we talk about like safe queens or drawer queens or something like that, I guess I would consider that one. And I would have that
Sure.
that Spartan Harsey. That's a cool knife, really.
Well, that's cool. And you
So,
know what? We got that question kind of did two things for us. We found out what your maybe holy grail of knives would be, and we also found out you like compasses and maps. So that was
I
actually
do.
that was a good question. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
That was good. I
I know.
did
Good
good. I
job,
did good.
bud.
I did good. No,
Hey,
yeah,
there you
exactly.
go.
Exactly. I did good. No, that's
Very
awesome.
cool.
Man, I tell you what, this has been it's been an absolute joy talking to you, man. And
Thank you.
finally, okay, meeting you,
Yeah, right, right.
you know what I
Eating
mean?
me. Yep.
Right. But I mean, like we said, who knows? This may be the only way we ever meet.
Right,
But
right.
I feel I know a little bit more about Jake and what he's
Yeah,
about and his background and what makes him tick. And
yeah,
that's the whole idea behind these.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, we talked about a couple of knives, but there's more to life than
yeah.
just knives. People are going to start, no, I might as well shut the channel down now because
Dude,
nobody's going to
listen,
watch
the
anymore.
internet just burnt.
Yeah, here we go. See you later. Bye-bye. No,
No, way down, bud.
Yeah, it's over. It's over now. But
Look,
no.
if they stayed around this long just to hear me babble,
Yeah.
you got some troopers, bud, really.
Yeah. Man, thank you so much again. And I really appreciate you taking time out, like you said, away from the family, because that's what we're doing, and I greatly appreciate you doing that and taking the time to talk with me and talk with everybody else, because those 5,000 people are going to be staring at us and listening to us. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I forgot all about those people.
See, but that's just it. We talked about that a little bit, and I completely forgot about it.
I did too. Yeah, and I knew I would.
It's not even a thing, but. Right. No, Jake, right. I do appreciate it, man. And guys, Jake from Ohio State, there'll be a link down in the description. Please Go check him out. He's got some awesome content. I like that. Like you said, the little B-roll stuff, dude, that's awesome. I love that stuff.
I do too. That's what I enjoy the most, is showing kind of the inner workings and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
It's
a lot of fun. So listen, I think I've enjoyed this immensely as well, and certainly I would love to come back on if you run out of other interesting people and you need, you know, a filler, I'm your man. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, but I think KC has that.
Oh, no, he's your filler.
He's been on like what 4 times or something like that. So I'm sorry, but I can't do KC. No, I got you.
I'll be the backup filler.
Okay.
That
sounds good. That sounds good.
But I appreciate you doing this stuff as well, man. Again, I enjoy listening to all these. I love getting to know the people that, you know, we're looking at their hands and we're looking at whatever, but I really enjoy that type of stuff too, man. So I appreciate you guys doing this stuff. I appreciate you having me on it.
And guys, just real quick, if you're still here, let me know. Do you like this format better than just, because I mean, really before it was just kind of a table with knives laying there, because I just get to talking to people and I forget about the knives. It was like,
sure.
I do. I just forget about it because it's more fun talking to you than. So
and I personally, I like it better when it's table down for these long format ones. Okay, but I get a lot out of seeing the people and their expressions. Because a lot more comes through, you know, when we talk about stuff face to face like this.
It's a lot more personal.
It is.
And that's exactly what this should be. And I probably should have been doing it the whole time. To be perfect.
But on the flip side, I know there's people that don't
exactly
want their identity. And that's perfectly cool.
Exactly.
Too.
And we definitely will.
That.
Yep. I mean, I don't put my face on camera a lot, but it's not like that's more for the people's benefit. They don't want to see this. Anyhow, dude, they just want to. I just want to show off my hooks. That's all. That's all. It's an ego thing, I guess. I don't know, but all right, brother. Well, I tell you what, I will let you go for now, man. Thank you again so much for doing this. I greatly appreciate it, guys. Jake from Ohio State. Go check him out. Show him some.
You too.
All right.